Today on All Out Brick, we're going to be taking a look at Bionicle set 8621, Turaga, Dume, and Nivawk. We're going to build the set, review it, and then give out a score. Let's get started. Hey everyone, I'm Christian from All Out Brick. Welcome to another Metru Nui Monday. As always, the best way to tag along with us every week is to subscribe and turn on notifications. This week, we're going to be looking at Bionicle set 8621, Turaga, Dume, and Nivawk. This was a set released in 2004 as a part of the Titan line for this year. Turaga Dume is a Turaga of Fire, and therefore he was a former Toa of Fire. He commanded his own Toa team, and then he became a Turaga as well as the leader of Metru Nui. In Bionicle, The Legends of Metru Nui, Metru Nui possesses his body, or I guess has a separate one, and corruptly rules over Metru Nui as if he himself was Dume. There's actually an entire subreddit and fake Twitter accounts for Turaga Dume, and if you want a really good laugh, I recommend going over and check them out. There's some hilarious content over on that Reddit and on the Twitter account. Nivawk was a member of a large bird-like Rahi species, and in The Legends of Metru Nui, we see Nivawk as kind of a servant or pet to Metru Nui in Dume form, and he kind of goes around, spies on people, he's a little bit of a recon, and he's kind of this creepy little guy, but yeah, he's a bird Rahi. Taking a look at the packaging, I do apologize that this is kind of beat up, I guess, shipping handling kind of got messed up in the mail, but on the front of the box, we see a nice image of Turaga Dume. He's in this little harness on Nivawk. They're in this nice action pose, breaking through a wall, different than what we got with Kreka and Nidiki going over the rooftops, and we have that same skyline of Metru Nui in the background, and there's an image in a circle of kind of the height comparison between the two. In the bottom left corner, we see its age is 8+, and it's at 8621. In the bottom right, we have the Metru Nui logo, which is kind of scratched up, and then the set name. And on the back of the box, we have a couple different images of Turaga Dume and Nivawk, kind of different functions you can perform them, putting them in the harness, taking them out, how the wings fold up. And on the bottom, we have a good preview of the ultimate combination for the Titan sets of 2004, which we'll be getting onto next week. Now let's go ahead and knock out the set build. Here we are, the completed build. It was a 20-minute build, so generally in line with what we normally see with these Titan sets and really close to what we got with some of the other 2003 Titan sets. Kicking it off this review, let's take a look at Turaga Dume. To be honest with you, this was a really underwhelming Turaga build. He's essentially just the same as the Matoran of Metru Nui, just with a little bit different arm pieces and leg pieces. They're just the Bow limb pieces, and it's all just one flat color. The mask is unbelievable. I really like the marbled look that the mask gives, but this is a Turaga. Why is he the same as our Metru Nui Matoran builds? Makes no sense to me. Just feels kind of like an obvious fact that LEGO was super lazy with the Turaga. They were like, oh, we had to make the Turaga Dume. Let's just throw it in, change it up a little bit, and no one will really notice. Well, yeah, it's just not good. That was bad taste in my mouth to start off this build. As for Nivawk, I really like the build. Feels a lot bigger than I would have expected it to be, just judging by the box art. I guess it's because the box art has him this crouched down, his legs kicking out, and when he stood up, especially with the wings out, Nivawk is pretty dang big, and it's just, he's not super girthy. His limbs are pretty skinny, and there's really no arms, he's just got the wings, but it just takes up a lot of space and feels very big. It's not bigger than I think some of the models we've gotten in the past, but it just feels like that. And maybe it's because we haven't gotten incredibly large models, aside from Nidiki's pretty big, but he feels considerably bigger than Nidiki, which is bizarre because I think they're probably pretty close in size. He just feels so much more intimidating in this bigger presence. The legs are one of my favorite parts, if not my favorite part of the Nivawk build. They're just constructed pretty well, new ways and new parts in there to give it this different look, and there's some good articulation. It's well balanced articulation. The rubber joints, these new Technic ball sockets, they worked really well in this version of the set. I know it's kind of hit and miss with how they degrade over time, but if you bought it brand new sealed, you're not gonna have that problem, but they work for me here, and I think there's good articulation. You can't suppose, like, just because of the weight that's on the top of Nivawk, you can't really put him in any position you want, but you can crouch him down or stand him up, and I found that the legs are effective in doing that, and they included just the perfect amount of articulation in the legs at the knees and the ankles and the hips. Moving up to the head, really good minimalist design here. There's not a whole lot of pieces used, but it's a nice effective design. I like that they put those extra black parts on top of the orange eyes. Just adds this extra element, and I can't really put my finger on exactly what it is, but it just adds a little bit of that extra oomph. And when you put this step into the head, you snap it on and suddenly the eyes pop out a little bit more, is I guess what it really does for the build, and it looks so nice. I think, if anything, I wish there was some movement in the mouth here. It is a static mouth, unfortunately, and with a bird, especially, that beak, it would have been nice to be able to move it up and down. Even with the Gecko bird, we didn't have any sort of like beak movement, so that's kind of consistent, but we're in 2004 now. It would have been nice to see that mouth movement, or even something simple like with like the Turaga mouths were kind of open, and it's just something. The static mouth is The biggest feature when it comes to Nivawk and Turaga Dume is the fact that you can open up the chest harness on Nivawk and slide Turaga Dume into place. This is a really secure, really easy to implement and play feature, and it looks awesome. Like when Turaga Dume's like sitting there like all grappled up and flying around, like it genuinely is like I really like it, and I think it's done well. It's not sloppy. It's very stiff when you have him in place. You don't have to worry about him falling out. Like, you could turn this thing upside down, he's still going to stay in place. It's very, very secure. Almost like a a roller coaster harness is what I kind of compare it to. And you can I like to pose his arms as if he's like gripping on. So you can get creative with that too. Something that was really well done with this build was the color scheme for Nivawk. The black and the silver work great together. They're balanced in good amounts. Even those rubber joints are black and silver, and there's not too much of one color, and it doesn't, like, when you look at it, it's just like, oh, like black and silver. Like, I don't look at it and see just one color. So it was balanced really well there, and that's tricky to pull off with some sets. We've seen some previous ones where it doesn't hit the mark with the color balance, and it kind of throws things off. Nivawk did a really good job here with color balancing. The other main play feature with Nivawk and Turaga Dume are the wings on Nivawk can open and close. This is pretty cool. The function is a little stiff than I think they would have wanted it to be. Maybe it's, my parts are, they just gotta like mold into place or whatever, but I found it pretty hard, and it feels not like unstable, but it feels like it could pop off and the mechanism would kind of break apart at any time when you're trying to flap them in and out. I personally like them so much with the wings out that I really wouldn't display it with the wings pulled in, because when the wings are in, it just looks a little too skinny. It kind of has like a goofy look, which I guess isn't a bad thing. Bionicle is such a different thing that it should look a little unnatural, but it bothers me when the wings put in. So wings folded out is kind of how I'm going to keep it, and just static that way. Unfortunately, you really can't flap them at all either because of just the stiffness to it. And I feel like they wanted you to be able to flap the wings, so this is just, they didn't execute that design perfectly, and it's with this play function that was kind of crucial to get right, in my opinion, with a bird Rahi. So no flapping wings is overall, it's a pretty nice set, but definitely forgettable and not as good as I'm still a huge fan of the Kreka set. This doesn't quite compare to the Kreka set, but it is still a good set. It's very big, like in terms of just its size, like how much space it does take up. It's quite big and quite ominous, like good presence to it. So I think it's a good villain set. Turaga Dume was a really big letdown in terms of getting a Turaga from Metru Nui. It's just not going to happen, I guess, and it stinks that we got kind of just a ripped-off Matoran of Metru Nui design for the Turaga Dume, but it does have a fantastic mask that I would really recommend. If you want to get your hands on it, go for it, because it's one of my favorite masks that we've gotten to date. It's up with the Infected How mask from the Muwaka and Kanera sets back from 2001. But back to this set, and it doesn't hit all the marks for me. It's still good, though. I do like it, and if you're looking to buy it yourself, it's not incredibly expensive. It's about $35 US in used condition and $70 US in brand new sealed condition. Something that I've come to find with these 2004 Titan sets is potentially you do want to go with brand new sealed, because with Kreka, those joints were just so old and worn out that they didn't work. There wasn't friction anywhere in the model, and kind of with Nadiki and with this one, we lucked out in that we bought them used and they weren't super deteriorated. So I think that's kind of a hit and miss. So if you want to guarantee that your joints aren't going to just be super frictionless, that they will hold in place, yeah, you're going to have to go brand new sealed and pay the extra money for it. But other than that, there's really nothing in here that I would be super disappointed in that I got in used condition. I had no problems with the pieces in used condition in this set, and like I said, it's really just those ball joints that matter in terms of condition. So I would recommend used. As for a score, I'm going to give Turaga, Dume, and Nivawk a 7.6. It was good. I just couldn't elevate. Like, it is a nice Titan set, don't get me wrong, and there's some good things about it. It's a lot of fun, that chest harness feature, and the presence, like I said, takes up a lot of space, a lot of fun with that. But it's lacking in some areas. If we got a better Turaga design, better wing design is kind of what hits the mark here. That wing mechanism just not very good, not very polished. So there's just a little too many downsides to give this thing something where it's like an 8. But I would recommend this set. I think it's different from a lot of other sets, and it's a nice Titan set to have. You do get the Turaga Dume mask, so there is that to it. But 7.6, that's your review. Thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, be sure to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel to be the first to see all of our future content. Also, be sure to check us out on our website and on our Facebook and Instagram pages. Until next time, stay bricking.